I would like to call this meeting to order. Welcome to all, and thank you for coming out to tonight's meeting of the Peoria Planning and Zoning Commission. I'm going to be taking roll call. Commissioner Golden?
Present.
Commissioner Spriker?
Present.
Commissioner Loper is not present today. Commissioner Hutchinson, not present. Commissioner Lewis?
Present.
Commissioner Otlowski?
Present.
Commissioner Nelson is not here today, and I am Commissioner Strickman. I am going to dispense with reading of the opening statement today. Any speaker request forms for today? I don't think there's anybody here to do speaker requests. So we're going to go on to the consent agenda. The consent agenda is for items that are routine in nature and consist of 3 items tonight. 1C, the disposition of absence. Discussion and possible action to approve, excuse the absence of Vice Chair Leonard Spraker. 2C is the minutes. Discussion and possible action to approve the minutes of the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting held on March 19th, 2015. And 3C is public hearing regarding conditional use permit for Fletcher Heights Animal Hospital, CU 15-003. Do any commissioners have any questions or comments? Seeing no questions or comments, do I have a motion?
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Lewis.
I move for approval of the consent agenda as presented.
Do I have a second?
So seconded.
Thank you. Commissioner Spriker, please vote. Vote.
You can do a roll call vote.
Oh, roll call. Okay. Let's go back through. Okay. Commissioner Golden.
I approve.
Okay. Commissioner Lewis.
Yes?
Commissioner Otlowski.
Yes.
And Commissioner Spriker.
Yes.
And I will vote yes, too. So it passes. We move on to new business. The first and only agenda item today is 4R, Public Hearing Rules for Procedure. Staff, please present your report.
Great, thank you, Madam Chair, members of the Commission. Item 4R tonight is the Planning and Zoning Commission Rules for Procedure. So tonight, the purpose of tonight is just to have a discussion on the item, take any input you might have, and then we would bring the item back at a future meeting for any action and to review it. The rules of procedure that we provided, these are rules of procedure. Each body that we have within the city has a rules of procedure. And essentially what it does is it sets out how the commission conducts its business. It includes things like your powers and duties, the composition of the commission, how we conduct elections, and what are the roles of the officers on board. Also the guiding ethical principles. Now, the current rules of procedure you see from what we provided in the packet dates back to 1994, so it's over 2 decades old. And certainly what we want to do is refresh that to reflect today's business and today's references. So what I'll do is just take you through some of the highlights. I think in general, most of the changes that we're suggesting are ministerial, if you will. Couple of the adjustments to housekeeping section. I think you'll note throughout the document it refers to a couple generations of names of our old department. I think it calls it the Development Services Department. We're the Planning and Community Development Department, so it's an update of that. Also an updated reference to what was once called the Comprehensive Master Plan. We call it now the General Plan. Essentially, it's the same thing. Different states call it the term. We also want to clarify the roles and responsibilities. I think in your document you saw there are roles identified for each of the roles that we elect. One of the glaring errors that we saw was the role of the secretary. And if you note, the secretary, back when this was adopted, had the power to administratively approve minor site plan changes. So that has been we have not brought site plan changes to the commission for years. I mean, I think it probably dates back to 2002, 2003 or so. And I can't even recall ever a secretary position in a position to approve minor site plan changes. So we certainly want to note that change. Also, we want to clarify the responsibility of the department when there is a new commissioner that is appointed to the commission. I think the way that the rules currently read is that it's the responsibility of the commissioner to contact the department. We think that's backwards. We think it's the department of the responsibility of the department rather to contact the new commissioner, bring them in, conduct an orientation, introduction to the department. So we want to make that change as well. And then also, in terms of if a commissioner is unable to make a meeting, I think the way the language currently reads is that the commissioner is to contact the chair. And I think that's fine, but I think what we would like to do is also introduce language that they could also contact the department, either the director or my designee, perhaps Della would be a good choice to do that. And then certainly update the order of business and the hearing of applications. So the purpose there is to update the language to how we conduct our meetings. I think when you look at the language, it's a little outdated there. And then certainly how we hear applications, the order in which business occurs. You know, when we open a public hearing, you'll usually get a staff presentation, then you'll have the applicant there with their ability to conduct it. So we just want to update that to reflect today's practices. And that's really it. So at this point tonight, I'd just like to open it up for any discussion. If there are some things that maybe you noticed that I didn't insert into the document, I'd like to hear about those. And certainly down the road, as you're reflecting on this, if you've got some changes, feel free to email me and let me know about that. And then like I said, we'll bring it back to a future meeting for action. And that's it.
Do any of the commissioners have any comments or questions of staff?
I just have one. In here, I didn't see any mention, I could have missed it, about what happens at our end of our term of, whatever we call this, term of,
When the term expires.
thank you, when our term expires. I mean, I was never sure, was I supposed to do something? Were you supposed to do something? I thought maybe it should be someplace in here.
Okay. That's a good comment. I don't recall any language there today, but we can certainly take a look at that. There is a procedure working with the city clerk's office.
Yeah, I don't know what the procedure is.
Sure.
What is the procedure?
I believe you would contact the city clerk's office, and then they would
Oh.
work with us, let us know that there is a impending vacancy, and there's a process that unfolds with a subcommittee to appoint new members. But we can certainly reference that process in the document. I think that would be helpful.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the commissioners? Okay, as this is not anything we will be voting on, I'm going to now move on. Are there any comments from the public on non-agenda items? Seeing there are no comments on non-agenda items, how about reports from staff? Any reports from staff?
Sure, Madam Chair, members of the commission. I just wanted to update the commission on a few staff changes that we have. I think first off, just sitting in our audience, you know Lori Deaver. She's been in front of you before several times as our planner. Well, she was recently promoted to a senior planner, just reflecting her her abilities and all the projects she's working on. But I'd like to just congratulate her on that promotion. Also, a couple other staff changes. We did hire a new planning technician. Planning technician is somebody that works at the counter and really is involved with some of the intake of the applications. I think you'll see that person at a future meeting when we've got a bigger agenda. And then also, Rick Williams, I think you've seen him in the past. He's moved on to the city of Avondale. So he's no longer with the city. He's moved on to another position over there, another opportunity. But we wish him well, and we wish him congratulations on that opportunity. So just wanted to note those changes. And then the second thing I wanted to note for the commission, just so you're aware, is that you might recall several months ago, this commission, we had a public hearing on donation bins. We had a study session, we had a regular public hearing, and that item was recommended for approval by the commission. That did go to council, last council meeting on the 7th. The council did vote to enact that, vote for that text amendment. Subsequent to that, we did hear of a couple of U.S. Court of Appeals cases that came out that effectively declare or look at donation bins as a type of free speech. And so we've been directed by our city attorney's office to that we're going to have to go back and entertain some adjustments to maybe the definition just to comply with that. So just to let the commission know that what we're going to do is we're going to, when the ordinance becomes effective, we're going to see how it works for a few months. Now with any large amendment, certainly things that maybe were not contemplated might occur. We might see a better way to do the thing, or we might suggest a surgical change to the amendment. So we'll do that, and we'll probably be bringing back a minor amendment to the commission probably within the next 4 to 6 months or so. We just wanted to make you aware of that. And with that, I have no other items.
When is our next meeting?
Oh, of course. Our next meeting is, the May 7th meeting is canceled, and then the May 21st meeting will be our next one.
Yes, Commissioner Golden.
I just had a question.
Yes.
You know, in the past, we had asked if we could have an organizational chart.
Oh,
And
certainly.
is that possible that you could get us one?
Absolutely. We'll email that out to you.
Okay, great, thank you.
You bet.
Reports from Planning and Zoning Commission? Does anybody on Planning and Zoning have anything to say? Okay, well, I just have something to say. I've lived in this city for over 10 years, and I have worked on planning and zoning now for, I think, 6 years. And I had an experience about 3 or 4 weeks ago where my grandson was coming into town, and I had to get a car seat into my car. And I never quite realized how difficult that has become now, getting a car seat into the car. And I had the pleasure of meeting Tim with the fire department. And I want to put out a kudos to this city and to him and to all of the staff here, because you guys are all great. And I wanted to put that on record. So, thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner Strickman. We'll pass it on to Tim Iden.
Yes, he was great. He worked with my car and my car seat for 25 minutes.
That's what it takes now, right?
Well, that was after we spent an hour and a half not
Oh.
getting it in right, so you know.
I always have to install mine when my grandchildren are not around. Because it still takes me 20 minutes to put.
Yes. Okay, well, seeing that there's no further business, I call this meeting adjourned.